North Carolina Senator Ted Budd serves on the Senate committee hearing holding that today. He joins us now. Senator, thanks for being with us. Tell us what you want to know from this testimony.
Well, look, what we see here is we see the Biden administration. We see people like Bernie Sanders. They're essentially weaponizing the federal government against job creators. Now, we're going to look at any allegations against Starbucks under Howard Schultz's tenure. But at the same time, what's the purpose of the hearing in Bernie Sanders' mind? And ultimately, this increases costs to taxpayers. It's picking winners and losers, and usually if it's Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, they're going to pick big labor over the American people, and that raises costs for the taxpayers and makes it harder on the worker.
Yeah, totally agree with the overarching approach here. Why are we doing this? But specifically with regard to Starbucks, here's a statement, quote, "We strive to address issues relevant to our people, including pay equity, financial literacy, student debt, human and civil rights, environmental sustainability, hiring military families, civic engagement, ban the box, partnering on food security, and addressing the mental health crisis while doing our part to help our partners build life skills and a career launching pad." Deep breath, deep sigh. That is from Mr. Schultz himself, a written statement. I guess what I'm wondering, Senator, is why is Starbucks, the place where you go to get your latte, get your coffee, involved in all that other stuff? And why does the American person watching this hearing, listening to you right now, care about any of this?
We're a little baffled here because we see that the left is going after corporations, but they're going after quite a left-leaning corporation. And Bernie Sanders simply wants a scalp here. He wants a corporate scalp, but he's going after somebody who's left-leaning as far as Starbucks. And at the same time, this is somebody who's not even the CEO. He's on his way out. He's exited. So he's grasping for relevance, but he missed the target as far as Bernie Sanders.
Well, we have to get to this. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is being called out after a top general detailed Austin's delayed response to the Chinese spy flight earlier this year. Listen to this.
The intel community made me aware on the 27th.
Did you ever speak with Secretary Austin about this balloon?
I spoke with Secretary Austin on the 1st of February.
I mean, how concerning is it that it was a delayed response? I mean, days after, was he just not paying attention?
Now, that's 4 or 5 days. What we need is clarity. We need the straight answers. We're hearing mixed things. We're hearing, was it the 27th? Was it detected before it entered American airspace and then went across Canada and re-entered American airspace? Or could we have shut it down before? We've heard 2 stories. We just need a straight answer from the administration. And as we know, indecision, lack of clarity, it's weak, and weakness is provocative. That's what allows China to float a balloon across U.S. airspace, across the continental U.S. for multiple days before we shut it down. And weakness is provocative. We need to be strong. We need to be clear. And this should have never entered even Alaskan airspace.
You were in the room. You can get a sense that the rest of us can't just by watching it on video. So do you get the sense that this was part of an elaborate cover-up as this aircraft was traversing our entire nation? Or, in the alternative, was this simply a screw-up by our top brass?
I think it's a mixture of all the above, and who knew what when. I mean, we see serious options being presented by the U.S. military very early on, detection before the U.S. airspace, and then we see from the administration that they didn't know about it until it was in the U.S. airspace. So I think they're more worried about their narrative than they are about the public safety.
You know, Senator, you brought up just a minute ago about how you want clarity, you want answers, but answers are really something that are lacking with this administration. Are you worried that we're not going to get answers about this, and then something like this, God forbid, happens again, and here we are in the same position?
Well, on the Armed Forces Committee, we're going to keep pushing for true answers. We're going to keep pushing for clarity and hold them accountable. That's what the American people sent us to Washington to do, is to hold this administration accountable, get straight answers, and make sure that we're strong, not weak, so that we can prevent these problems from happening in the future.
We've got about a minute left in our program. Not enough time to play your testimony, your questioning yesterday, but you did press Secretary Austin and General Milley on the repeated attacks on American forces by Iran-backed militias. Were you satisfied with the answer that our top brass gave you?
Look, what we need to do is keep pushing for American strength. And when you see that we get punched and we get punched and we barely respond, it's going to allow them to continue to push the edge. And we lost a U.S. contractor last week. We think that they may have held back answers, again, controlling their narrative rather than the protection of U.S. citizens. So this is very concerning, and we're going to continue to press for answers and for accountability.
So I'm going to take it with not being satisfied with the answers that you got. No? Okay.
Fair.
Fair enough.
Understood.
Senator Ted Budd, thank you so much for your time.